until a Navy SEAL team walked in. Lincoln High School sits on the edge of San Diego, close enough to smell the salt air when the wind shifts. It's the kind of school that looks impressive in photographs: new buildings, manicured lawns, a football stadium with actual bleachers, but struggles beneath the surface: budget cuts, teacher shortages, a student body divided between Navy families who rotate through every few years and locals who've been here for generations. Room 214 is American history, third period. 27 juniors who would rather be anywhere else. Their regular teacher, Mr. Hendricks, had a heart attack 2 weeks ago. He's recovering, but slowly. The school has been cycling through substitutes ever since, each one lasting a day or two before giving up. Today's substitute arrives at 7:15 a.m. His name is Thomas Riley, 53 years old, average height, average build. Nothing about him stands out. He wears khaki pants, a blue button-down shirt, and reading glasses that he keeps pushing up his nose. His hair is gray, thinning on top. He walks with a slight limp, left leg, that he tries to hide but can't quite manage. He looks like someone's dad, someone's accountant, someone you'd forget the moment he left the room. The front office barely glances at him when he checks in. Room 214. Third period is the tough one. Good luck. Thomas nods. I've handled tough before. The secretary doesn't look up from her computer. Sure you have. He finds the classroom, unlocks it with the key they gave him, sets his bag on the desk, looks at the empty chairs that will soon be filled with teenagers who've already decided he doesn't matter. On the whiteboard, someone has written, Substitute number 7. How long will this one last? Thomas erases it, writes his name instead, Mr. Riley. Then he sits down and waits. Third period arrives like a storm. The students pour in, loud, chaotic, phones already out. They see the substitute and the energy shifts, not quieter, predatory. Oh, great, another one, says a kid in a Letterman jacket. Tyler Brennan, captain of the lacrosse team. The kind of confidence that comes from never being told no. How long you think this one lasts? Asks his friend Derek. I got $20 on one period. I'll take that bet. Look at him. He's already sweating. Thomas isn't sweating, but he doesn't correct them. A girl in the front row, Madison Chen, AP student, already accepted to UCLA, sighs loudly. Can we just have a study hall? These subs never teach anything anyway. That's not fair, says another girl, Aaliyah Washington. She's quieter than the others, watches more than she speaks. You don't even know him yet. I know enough. He's substitute number 7. They're all the same. Thomas stands up, walks to the front of the room, waits. The class doesn't quiet down. Why would they? He's nobody. Good morning, he says. His voice isn't loud, but there's something in it, a quality that makes Tyler look up from his phone just for a second. I'm Mr. Riley. I'll be your substitute for the foreseeable future. The foreseeable future? Derek laughs. That's ambitious. How about until lunch? Tyler adds. The class erupts in laughter. Thomas doesn't react, just waits for the noise to die down. I understand you've had a lot of substitutes recently. I understand you've probably learned that if you make enough noise, we'll give up and let you do whatever you want. He pauses, looks at each of them in turn. That's not going to happen with me. More laughter. Tyler leans back in his chair, arms crossed. Oh yeah? What makes you different? Experience. Experience doing what? Looking boring? The class howls. Someone throws a paper ball. It lands near Thomas's feet. He doesn't pick it up, doesn't acknowledge it. I've been teaching for 3 years, Thomas says. Before that, I did other work. The kind of work that taught me patience. What, like accounting? Madison asks. No offense, but you look like an accountant. Some offense taken. Thomas almost smiles. But no, not accounting. Then what? Thomas considers the question, decides to deflect. Today we're covering the Vietnam War, Chapter 12 in your textbooks. Please open to page 247. Nobody moves. Or, Thomas says, I can give you all zeros for participation and we can sit in silence for 45 minutes. Your choice. Slowly, reluctantly, a few students reach for their bags. Others don't. Tyler keeps his arms crossed. I'm not opening anything. What are you going to do about it? Thomas walks to Tyler's desk, stops directly in front of him. They're eye to eye now. Thomas standing, Tyler sitting, neither willing to look away. I'm going to teach this class, Thomas says quietly. whether you participate or not. But I think you're smarter than you're pretending to be. And I think you're bored because no one's challenged you. Tyler's jaw tightens. You don't know anything about me. I know you're wearing a lacrosse jacket, which means you understand discipline and teamwork. I know you're sitting in the back, which means you're used to being overlooked when you want to be. And I know you're testing me, which means somewhere in there, you're hoping I'll pass. The room is quiet now, everyone watching. Tyler holds Thomas's gaze for a long moment. Then, slowly, he reaches down and pulls out his textbook. Page 247, he mutters. Page 247. The class follows his lead. Not eagerly, not respectfully, but they open their books. Thomas returns to the front of the room. The Vietnam War, he begins, was a conflict that lasted almost 20 years. Over 58,000 Americans died. But those are just numbers. Numbers don't tell you what it was like. Numbers don't tell you how it felt to be 19 years old in a jungle on the other side of the world, fighting an enemy you couldn't see. He pauses. Something shifts in his voice, a depth that wasn't there before. The reason we study history isn't to memorize dates. It's to understand the people who lived through it, the choices they made, the costs they paid. Aaliyah is watching him closely now. There's something in his words that doesn't match the accountant exterior. Mr. Riley, she asks. Yes. Were you there? In Vietnam? I wasn't born yet. Vietnam ended in 1975. But you've been somewhere, haven't you? Somewhere like that. The room goes quiet. Thomas looks at her. At this 17-year-old girl who sees more than she should. Let's focus on the chapter, he says. We have a lot to cover. But the question hangs in the air, unanswered. The rest of the period is rocky but functional. Thomas teaches. The students mostly listen. Tyler makes a few more comments, but they're half-hearted. The initial challenge has been met, and he's not sure what to do with a substitute who doesn't crumble. When the bell rings, the students file out quickly. Aaliyah lingers. Mr. Riley? Yes? I'm sorry about how everyone acted. It's not personal. They've learned that substitutes don't stick around. It's easier not to invest in someone who's leaving. Aaliyah nods. Yeah, exactly. I understand, but I'm not leaving. How do you know? Thomas gathers his papers, straightens the desk. Because I made a commitment, and I don't break commitments. Aaliyah studies him for a moment. My dad was military. He used to talk like that. About commitments. What branch? Marine Corps. He did 3 tours in Afghanistan before She stops. Before he got hurt. I'm sorry. It's okay. He's still around. He's just different now. She shoulders her backpack. Anyway, I just wanted to say not everyone thinks you're a joke. Some of us are paying attention. Thank you, Aaliyah. That means more than you know. She leaves. Thomas stands alone in the empty classroom. He picks up the paper ball from the floor, holds it for a moment, then drops it in the trash and prepares for 4th period. The next week is a war of attrition. Every day Thomas shows up. Every day the students test him. Paper balls become spitballs. Whispered insults become open mockery. Tyler and Derek make it their personal mission to break him. Hey, Mr. Riley, what's the square root of boring? Mr. Riley, did you fight in the Revolutionary War? You look old enough. Mr. Riley, my grandma wants her glasses back. Thomas absorbs it all, never raises his voice, never loses his temper, just teaches. He makes the material come alive in ways the students don't expect. When they cover World War II, he doesn't just talk about D-Day. He talks about the paratroopers who jumped into darkness, not knowing if they'd see morning. When they cover Korea, he talks about the cold, not as a concept, but as an enemy that killed as many men as bullets did. How do you know all this stuff? Madison asks one day. You make it sound like you were there. I read a lot, Thomas says, and I've known people who were there. Their stories stay with you. What people? Thomas deflects, always deflects. But the deflections are starting to accumulate. The students are curious now, even the hostile ones. Dude's definitely hiding something, Derek says to Tyler after class. Nobody's that calm. Maybe he's just dead inside, Tyler replies, like every other adult. No, it's different, the way he talks about war stuff. It's like he knows. Knows what? I don't know. That's the thing. On Friday of the 2nd week, Tyler stays after class. Thomas looks up from his desk. Can I help you? Tyler stands in the doorway, uncertain. This is new territory for him, talking to a teacher without an angle. I wanted to ask you something. Go ahead. You limped when you came in today, worse than usual. What happened to your leg? Thomas is quiet for a moment. Old injury, acts up when the weather changes. What kind of injury? The kind you get when you're not careful. That's not an answer. No, it's not. Tyler moves closer, sits on the edge of a desk. My uncle was a SEAL. Did 3 deployments. He has a limp too. Same leg. Thomas's expression doesn't change, but something flickers in his eyes. He got shot in Ramadi, Tyler continues. 2006, almost lost the leg. They gave him a Purple Heart and a medical discharge. I'm sorry to hear that. He never talks about it, but sometimes when he doesn't know I'm watching, he gets this look, like he's somewhere else. Tyler pauses. You get that look sometimes, in class, when you're talking about combat. Thomas sets down his pen, gives Tyler his full attention. What are you asking me, Tyler? I'm asking if you served, if you were, over there, doing what my uncle did. The classroom is silent. The afternoon sun slants through the windows, casting long shadows. Why does it matter? Thomas asks. Because if you did, then you're not just some random substitute. You're someone who actually knows what you're talking about. And maybe... Tyler struggles. Maybe I've been an asshole for no reason. Thomas looks at this kid, 17 years old, all bravado and insecurity, desperate to prove himself, terrified of being ordinary. Your uncle, Thomas says carefully. What's his name? Sean Brennan. Thomas goes very still. What? Tyler asks. You know him? I knew a Sean Brennan, long time ago, different lifetime. Thomas stands up, walks to the window. He was one of the best operators I ever worked with. Tyler's mouth falls open. Worked with? You mean... The door opens. Another student pokes her head in. Mr. Riley, the principal wants to see you. Thomas turns back to Tyler. We'll continue this conversation another time. But, another time... He walks out, leaving Tyler alone with 1,000 questions. Principal Diane Morrison is a pragmatist, 22 years in education. She's seen idealistic young teachers burn out, veteran teachers phone it in, and substitutes last an average of 3 days in difficult classrooms. She stopped believing in miracles around year 15. But something about Thomas Riley doesn't fit her patterns. You've lasted 2 weeks, she says, in room 214, with third period. Yes, ma'am. The previous 6 substitutes averaged 2 days. 1 didn't make it past first period. I heard. How are you doing it? Thomas considers the question. I'm not doing anything special. I'm just not leaving. That is special. Around here. She slides a folder across her desk. Thomas recognizes it. His personnel file. Your background check came back clean. Teaching credential is valid. References are solid. She pauses. But there are gaps in your employment history. Large gaps. I had a different career before teaching. Doing what? Government work. That's vague. It's all I can say. Morrison studies him. This unremarkable-looking man who won't break under teenage assault and won't explain his past. Mr. Riley, I'm going to be direct. We need a permanent substitute for that classroom, possibly for the rest of the semester. Mr. Hendricks's recovery is taking longer than expected. I can do that. Can you? Because these students, especially that third period group, they need stability. They need someone who won't give up on them. Thomas meets her eyes. I spent 20 years doing work that required me to keep going when every part of my body wanted to quit. A few teenagers aren't going to break me. What kind of work? The kind you don't talk about, ma'am, even to principals. Something in his voice, a weight and authority, makes Morrison believe him. All right, she says. You're our man. But, Mr. Riley, if anything in your past could affect this school or these students, I need to know. Nothing in my past will hurt these kids, I can promise you that. That's the second time you've made a promise. You must be a man who keeps them. I try to be. The following Monday, Tyler doesn't show up to class. Thomas notices immediately. The seat in the back row is empty. Derek is there, but subdued. None of the usual wisecracks. Where's Tyler? Thomas asks. Derek shrugs. Family stuff. After class, Thomas pulls Derek aside. What kind of family stuff? I don't know, man. He texted me last night. Said his uncle was in the hospital. Something bad. Thomas feels something cold settle in his stomach. Sean Brennan? Derek's eyes widen. How'd you know his uncle's name? Tyler mentioned him. Oh, yeah, anyway, Tyler's probably going to be out for a few days. Thomas nods. Thanks for letting me know. That night, Thomas makes a phone call, a number he hasn't dialed in years. Naval Medical Center, San Diego. I'm trying to reach a patient, Sean Brennan. He would have been admitted recently. Are you family? I'm an old friend. We served together. Silence. Then, I can connect you to the ICU waiting area. Someone there might be able to help. A new voice picks up. Female. Tired. Hello? I'm looking for Sean Brennan's family. My name is Thomas Riley. We served together a long time ago. A long pause. Chief Riley? Thomas's throat tightens. Yes. This is Karen, Sean's wife. We met once at a memorial service, 2008. I remember, Karen, what happened. He had a stroke 3 days ago. He's stable now, but... Her voice breaks. The doctors say there's brain damage. They don't know how much yet. I'm so sorry. Tyler's here. He's been here every day. Won't go to school, won't leave his uncle's side. Tyler's in my class. What? I'm teaching at Lincoln High. I'm Tyler's substitute teacher. That's a strange coincidence. Yes, it is. Karen is quiet for a moment. Sean talked about you after he got out. Said you saved his life in Ramadi. He saved mine first, multiple times. He said you were the best team leader he ever worked with. Said you had this way of keeping everyone calm, even when everything was falling apart. Thomas doesn't know what to say. Mr. Riley, Chief, could you come to the hospital? I think it might help Tyler. He's angry and scared and he won't talk to anyone. But if he knew you and Sean were... I'll be there. The hospital is 40 minutes away. Thomas drives in silence. No radio. Just the hum of the engine and the weight of years pressing down. He hasn't seen Sean Brennan in 14 years. Their last conversation was at a bar in Coronado, both of them drunk, both of them processing the loss of friends in ways that didn't involve words. Sean left the teams a year later, medical discharge, just like Tyler said. Thomas kept going, another 10 years, another dozen deployments, until his own body finally said enough. The ICU waiting room is small and cold. Tyler is slumped in a chair, staring at nothing. Karen sits beside him, holding his hand. When Thomas walks in, Tyler looks up. His eyes are red, exhausted. Mr. Riley, what are you doing here? Thomas sits down across from them. Your aunt called me. Why would she... Tyler stops, looks at his aunt. You know him? We met once, a long time ago. Karen glances at Thomas. He served with your uncle. Tyler's face changes, the hostility, the bravado. It all falls away. What's left is a scared kid who doesn't know what to do. You really knew him? Like you were actually there? I was his team leader for 3 years. He never told me that. We don't talk about it much, any of us. Tyler looks toward the ICU doors. He's dying. They won't say it, but I can tell. He's dying, and I can't do anything. He's not dying, Thomas says firmly. He's fighting. That's what he does. That's what he's always done. You don't know that. I know him. I've seen him in situations that would break most people. He doesn't quit. Ever. Tyler wipes his eyes angrily. Then why is he in there? Why did this happen? Because sometimes the body gives out even when the will doesn't. It's not fair. It's not right. But it's the truth. The ICU doors open. A doctor steps out. Family of Sean Brennan? Karen stands up quickly. Tyler follows. He's awake. He's asking for someone named Chief. Everyone looks at Thomas. That's me, he says quietly. The room is dim. Machines beep in steady rhythm. Sean Brennan lies in the bed, tubes and wires everywhere. His face is older than Thomas remembers. They're all older now, but the eyes are the same. Sharp, alert, still fighting. Chief, Sean rasps. His voice is weak but clear. Heard you were teaching Tyler. Hell of a coincidence. Thomas pulls a chair beside the bed. Hell of a coincidence. He giving you trouble? Nothing I can't handle? Sean almost smiles. That's what I figured. You always could handle anything. How are you feeling? Like hammered shit. Sean's eyes drift closed, then open again. Docs say I might not walk right again. Speech might be affected. Memory might... He trails off. You'll get through it. You've survived worse. Have I? Sean's gaze sharpens. There was a mission, 2006. Ramadi. I remember getting hit. I remember you carrying me. But after that, it gets fuzzy. You were in and out for 3 days. Infection set in. They almost amputated. But they didn't. No, they didn't. Sean reaches out. His hand is weak, trembling. Thomas takes it. I never thanked you properly. For that night. For getting me out. You don't have to thank me. We were brothers. We still are. Sean's grip tightens slightly. Promise me something. Anything. Tyler, he's a good kid under all the bullshit. He needs someone to show him what matters. I tried, but I was too messed up. Too angry. Too broken. You're not broken. We're all broken, Chief. It's what we do with the pieces that counts. Sean's eyes find Thomas's. Show him. Show him what it means to serve, what it means to matter. I will. Promise me. I promise. Sean nods. His eyes close. His breathing steadies. Thomas sits with him for another hour, watching him sleep. Then he walks back to the waiting room. Tyler is standing by the window, alone. He's resting, Thomas says. Tyler doesn't turn around. What did he say to you? He asked me to look out for you. I don't need looking out for. Maybe not, but he asked anyway. And I made him a promise. Tyler finally turns. His face is hard, defensive. So, what? You're going to be my mentor now? Teach me life lessons? I'm going to be your teacher, that's all. I'm going to show up to class every day and I'm going to treat you with respect. And I'm going to challenge you to be better than you think you can be. Why? Because that's what your uncle would do. That's what he did for me once, a long time ago, when I was young and angry and didn't know what I was capable of. Tyler stares at him. The hostility is fading. What's replacing it is harder to name. You really were a SEAL? Yes. Like a real one? Missions and everything? Yes. Why are you teaching high school? Thomas is quiet for a moment. Because after 20 years of fighting, I wanted to build something. Something that would last longer than a mission. Something that might actually make a difference. Does it? Make a difference? Ask me in 20 years. Tyler almost smiles. Almost. I'll be back at school tomorrow, he says. Good. We're covering the Gulf War. You'll want to be there. Why? Because I have some stories, the kind that aren't in textbooks. Tyler returns to class on Wednesday. He's different now. Still sitting in the back row, still wearing the lacrosse jacket. But the smirk is gone. The constant challenges have stopped. Derek notices. Dude, what happened to you? Nothing, just paying attention. That's exactly what I mean. It's weird. The class continues as usual, but there's a shift. Tyler's engagement changes the dynamic. When he listens, others listen. When he asks questions, real questions, others follow. Mr. Riley, he asks during a lesson on the Gulf War. What was it like, being over there? The room goes quiet. Thomas sets down his marker. I wasn't in the Gulf War specifically, but I've been to Iraq, multiple times. Doing what? Things I can't discuss, but I can tell you this. The experience changes you. You go over there thinking you know who you are. You come back realizing you didn't know anything. Is that why you became a teacher? Because you changed? Thomas considers the question. I became a teacher because I spent 20 years learning how to end lives. I wanted to spend whatever time I have left learning how to shape them instead. Madison, the AP student, leans forward. You were in the military, like actual combat? Yes. What branch? Thomas hesitates. Then, Navy. Derek's eyes widen. Wait, Navy, and you were in combat, and you can't talk about what you did. He puts the pieces together. Dude, are you a SEAL? The class erupts, everyone talking at once, questions flying. No way. SEALs aren't substitute teachers. He's lying. Look at him, he's too old. SEALs have to be like, huge. Thomas raises his hand. The class falls silent. I'm going to say this once, and then we're moving on. Yes, I served in naval special warfare. Yes, I was operational for 20 years. No, I can't discuss specific missions. And no, this doesn't change anything about how this class is going to run. Aaliyah speaks up. But it changes how we see you. Maybe. But I'm still just your teacher. My past doesn't make me better than anyone else. It just makes me experienced. Tyler is watching him with something new in his eyes. Respect, maybe, or recognition. My uncle served with you, Tyler says. Sean Brennan, you told me. The class goes quiet again. Yes. He's in the hospital, had a stroke. I know, I visited him. He told me something last night, when he was awake for a while. He said you saved his life in Iraq, that you carried him 2 miles under fire. Thomas's jaw tightens. He exaggerates. He said you were the best officer he ever served under, that you never left anyone behind. Ever. The classroom is completely silent now. Even Derek has nothing to say. Mr. Riley, Madison says softly, why didn't you tell us from the beginning? Because it wasn't relevant. I'm not here to impress you with war stories. I'm here to teach you history, so you understand why these wars happened and what they cost. But we treated you like garbage, Derek says. We threw paper balls at you. We made fun of you. Yes. And you just took it? I've taken worse. The weight of those words settles over the room. Mr. Riley, Tyler says, I'm sorry for how I acted, for what I said. Me too, Derek adds. One by one, other students echo the apology. Madison, Aaliyah, even the kids who never said anything mean, but never defended him either. Thomas looks at them. These teenagers who have just learned that the world is more complicated than they thought. Thank you, he says. But here's the thing. You didn't owe me respect because of my past. You owe respect to everyone until they prove they don't deserve it. That's the lesson. He returns to the whiteboard. Now, the Gulf War, page 312. We have a lot to cover. 3 weeks later, Principal Morrison calls Thomas to her office again. We've received a request, she says. An unusual one? From whom? The Naval Special Warfare Foundation. They want to bring a group of active duty SEALs here for a Veterans Day presentation, and they specifically asked for your class. Thomas goes still. Who requested this? I don't know. The request came through official channels, but they mentioned your name, said you'd know what it was about. Thomas does know. He can guess exactly who made the call. When? November 11th, 2 weeks from now. I'll need to prepare the students. Of course, whatever you need. Morrison pauses. Mr. Riley, is there anything I should know? Only that my past is about to walk through your front door, and it might be a lot. The next 2 weeks are a careful balance. Thomas continues teaching, but the dynamic has changed completely. The mockery is gone. The paper balls are gone. In their place is something he didn't expect. Genuine curiosity, engagement, questions that show the students are actually thinking. Tyler becomes his unofficial assistant, helping set up, keeping the class focused. It's a transformation that startles even Derek. Dude, you're like teacher's pet now. Shut up, I'm just helping. Since when do you help anyone? Tyler doesn't answer, but Thomas sees it, the change that happens when someone believes in you. The same change Sean Brennan saw in a young Thomas Riley decades ago in a different world. On November 10th, the day before the presentation, Thomas keeps the class after the bell. Tomorrow is going to be different, he says. You're going to meet some men I served with, some of the best warriors this country has ever produced. The students listen, rapt. They're going to tell you things about service, about sacrifice, about what it means to commit your life to something larger than yourself. I want you to listen, really listen, not because they're heroes, though they are, but because their stories contain truths you'll need when life gets hard. What kind of truths? Aaliyah asks. That courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the choice to act anyway. That true strength is about what you carry for others, not what you carry for yourself. That the people standing next to you matter more than any medal or accolade. He pauses, looks at each of them. I spent 20 years learning these lessons the hard way. Tomorrow, you get them for free. Don't waste the opportunity. November 11th, 2024, Veterans Day. Lincoln High School is buzzing with anticipation. Word has spread about the presentation. SEALs coming to speak in room 214. The classroom that broke 6 substitutes in 2 weeks. Thomas arrives at 6:30 a.m. The presentation isn't until 4th period, but he wants to prepare, wants to make sure everything is perfect. At 8:15, a black Suburban pulls into the school parking lot. 4 men step out. Even in civilian clothes, they're unmistakable. The way they move, the way they scan their surroundings, the quiet confidence that comes from having been tested and proven. Thomas walks out to meet them. The first man extends his hand. Chief Riley. Master Chief Warren. They embrace briefly, the way warriors do, quick, firm, full of unsaid things. "Thanks for doing this," Thomas says. "Thanks for the invitation." The boys were excited when they heard. The other 3 men approach. Each one shakes Thomas's hand. Each one uses that same title, Chief, with a reverence that doesn't need explanation. "So, this is where you ended up," Warren says, looking at the school. "Teaching high school? Seemed like a good use of whatever's left." "You're 53, Tom. You've got plenty left." "Different kind of left, the kind that builds rather than breaks." Warren nods slowly. "I get that. We all get that, eventually." They walk inside. Principal Morrison is waiting in the lobby, nervous and excited. "Gentlemen, welcome to Lincoln High. We're honored to have you." "The honor's ours, ma'am," Warren says. "These kids are the future. Least we can do is tell them what the past cost." 4th period. Room 214 is packed. Not just Thomas's students. The principal has allowed other classes to attend. 60 teenagers sit on chairs, desks, even the floor, all of them staring at the 4 men who stand at the front of the room. Master Chief Daniel Warren speaks first. "Good morning. My name is Master Chief Warren. I've been a Navy SEAL for 24 years. I've deployed to Iraq, Afghanistan, Yemen, Syria, and several countries I'm not allowed to mention." He pauses. Lets that sink in. The men standing with me have similar stories. Between the 4 of us, we have nearly a century of combined service. We've seen things that would give you nightmares. We've done things that will never appear in any history book. His voice is calm, not boastful, just factual. But we're not here to talk about us. We're here to talk about a man you already know, your teacher, Chief Thomas Riley. Thomas shifts uncomfortably. This wasn't the plan. "Tom served with me for 4 years, Warren continues. "He was my platoon commander, and later, my task unit leader. I watched him lead men through some of the hardest combat operations of the global war on terror." He turns to Thomas. "In 2006, in Ramadi, Iraq, Chief Riley led a mission to rescue a downed helicopter crew. They were surrounded by enemy fighters. Reinforcements were hours away. Everyone else said it was suicide. The students are motionless, barely breathing. Tom took 12 men into that city, at night, against 200 enemy fighters. They fought for 6 hours. They recovered the crew. They brought everyone home." Warren's voice drops. "Tom was shot twice during that mission. Once in the leg, once in the shoulder. He didn't stop, didn't slow down, didn't leave until every one of his men was on the helicopter." Tyler is staring at Thomas with tears in his eyes. For that mission, Chief Riley was awarded the Navy Cross, the 2nd highest valor award in the United States military. He never told you that. He never would have. Thomas speaks up. "Master Chief, this presentation isn't supposed to be about..." "It's exactly what it's supposed to be about." Warren turns back to the students. "You want to know what a hero looks like? You've been looking at one for 2 months. A man who could be doing anything, consulting for millions, writing books, living off his reputation, and he chose to teach high school in San Diego for substitute pay." One of the other SEALs, a younger man named Rodriguez, steps forward. "I was on that mission in 2006. I was 22 years old. It was my first real combat deployment. And when everything went to hell, when we were surrounded and outgunned and it looked like none of us were getting out, Chief Riley looked at us and said 7 words. He pauses. "We're going home. All of us. Together." Rodriguez's voice cracks slightly. "And he made it happen. Because that's who he is. That's what he does. He makes impossible things happen through sheer will." Warren takes over again. "There's another man who should be here today. His name is Sean Brennan. He served with Tom for 3 years. He was one of the best operators I ever knew." Tyler stiffens. "Sean's in the hospital right now, stroke, fighting for his life. But he wanted us to deliver a message." Warren pulls out a folded piece of paper. "He wrote this last week, asked us to read it." The room is silent. Warren unfolds the paper. "To the students of room 214, you have no idea how lucky you are. Your teacher is the finest man I've ever served with. He taught me what courage looks like, what loyalty looks like, what it means to never give up on the people you're responsible for. I hear some of you gave him a hard time. That's okay. We all test the people who show up in our lives. We want to know if they're real, if they'll stay. Tom stayed. He always stays. That's who he is. Learn from him. Not just history. Learn how to be a person, how to carry weight without complaining, how to show up every day even when it's hard, how to matter. He saved my life in 2006. Maybe he'll save yours too, just in a different way. Semper Fi, Sean Brennan. Warren folds the paper. The room is absolutely still. Then Tyler stands up. Mr. Riley, Chief, I need to say something. Thomas looks at him. We treated you like dirt. We made your life hell. And you just took it. Day after day. Tyler's voice breaks. I didn't know. None of us knew. But that's not an excuse. Tyler, no, let me finish. Tyler wipes his eyes. My uncle told me that the measure of a man isn't how he acts when things are easy. It's how he acts when they're hard, when no one's watching, when there's nothing in it for him. He looks at Thomas. You showed up every day. You taught us even when we didn't want to learn. You never once made us feel small, even when we deserved it. He comes to attention. It's awkward, a teenager's imitation of military bearing, but it's real. Thank you, Chief, for your service, for not giving up on us. One by one, the other students stand. Madison, Derek, Aaliyah, all of them. The 4 SEALs exchange glances. Then they snap to attention as well. Thomas stands in front of them, his students, his brothers, his new life, and his old life united in one room, and doesn't trust himself to speak. Warren breaks the silence. That's the thing about warriors, kids. The real ones, they never stop serving. The uniform changes. The battlefield changes. But the mission stays the same. He looks at Thomas. Protect the people who can't protect themselves. Build up the ones who need building. Leave the world better than you found it. He extends his hand to Thomas. Welcome to the next phase, Chief. Looks like you're doing just fine. Thomas shakes it, then finally turns to his students. Sit down, he says. All of you, we still have class time left. They sit. Mr. Warren and his team are going to take questions, real questions, about service, about sacrifice, about what it means to commit to something larger than yourself. He moves to the side, letting the SEALs have the floor. But before the first question comes, Aaliyah raises her hand. Yes? Can I ask Chief Riley something? Thomas hesitates. If it's quick. Why? After everything you did, the Navy Cross, the missions, all of it, why become a teacher, of all things? Thomas looks at her, at all of them, these young people who have so much ahead of them, so many choices still to make. Because I spent 20 years taking lives, he says quietly. And then I realized something. Taking lives is easy. Any fool with a gun can do it. Building lives, shaping people, helping them become who they're supposed to be, that's the hard part. He gestures at the room. Every one of you has potential for good, potential for harm. My job isn't to tell you which path to take. It's to show you that the choice matters, that you matter. He pauses. In the teams, we had a saying. The only easy day was yesterday. It meant that every day is hard. Every day requires you to show up and do the work. That's true in combat. It's also true in life. He looks at Tyler. I'm not here because teaching is easy. I'm here because it's hard, and because the hard things are the ones worth doing. The room is silent for a long moment. Then Master Chief Warren starts to clap. The other SEALs join in, and then the students, all of them, rise to their feet. Thomas Riley stands in front of them, 60 people applauding a man who never wanted recognition, a warrior who found a new war, a teacher who finally found his class. Thomas Riley continued teaching at Lincoln High for the next 12 years. He never accepted a promotion, never sought recognition, just showed up every day, taught his classes, and treated every student like they mattered, because they did. Tyler Brennan graduated and joined the Navy, made it through Bud S on his first attempt. He's currently a lieutenant, leading his own platoon somewhere in the world that can't be discussed. He visits Thomas every time he's home. They sit on Thomas's porch, drink coffee, and don't talk about work. Sean Brennan recovered from his stroke, partially. He can walk now, though slowly. His speech is impaired, but his mind is clear. He lives near his nephew and attends every one of Tyler's homecomings. Madison Chen graduated from UCLA, then Stanford Law, then joined the Judge Advocate General's Corps. She represents service members in military courts, making sure the people who serve are treated fairly. Derek became a high school teacher. History. At Lincoln High, room 215. When new students ask about the photographs on his desk, the ones showing a younger Derek with a gray-haired man in a classroom. He tells them about Mr. Riley, about the substitute teacher who refused to leave, about the Navy SEAL who chose to build instead of break. Aaliyah Washington became a journalist. She spent years covering conflict zones: Iraq, Syria, Ukraine. Her articles focus on the human cost of war, on the soldiers who fight and the civilians who suffer, and the truth that exists beyond headlines. She dedicated her first book to Mr. Riley, who taught me that the real story is always about the people. Room 214 has a plaque now, small, bronze, mounted near the door. It reads, "The Riley Room, in honor of Chief Thomas Riley, USN, Ready to Serve, Navy Cross, recipient teacher, who taught us that the hardest battles are fought without weapons, and the greatest victories are the ones no one sees." Every year, on Veterans Day, active duty SEALs visit that classroom. They tell stories about their service, answer questions from students, and pay respect to the man who started the tradition. Thomas doesn't attend anymore. His health won't allow it, but he watches the videos the students send him, sees the next generation learning what he learned, what Sean learned, what all of them learned in the crucible of combat. That service never ends. That sacrifice is measured not in medals, but in moments. That the people standing next to you are the only things that matter. On his last day of teaching, Thomas stood in front of his final class. "I'm not good at goodbyes," he said, "so I won't make this one long." He looked at them, 30 young faces, full of potential and uncertainty and fear and hope. "Whatever you do with your lives, do it fully. Don't hold back. Don't wait for permission. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't matter." He paused. "I spent the first half of my life fighting wars. I spent the second half fighting for you. I don't know which one was harder, but I know which one was more important." He picked up his bag, walked to the door. "Class dismissed. Forever." The students stood, started to applaud. Thomas held up his hand, stopped them. "Don't clap for me. Go out there and earn your own applause." He walked out of room 214 for the last time. The hallway was empty. The school was quiet. Outside, the sun was setting over San Diego, painting everything in shades of gold and orange. Thomas Riley, chief, teacher, warrior, builder, walked into that light and kept walking. Maybe that's what service really means, not the uniform you wear or the medals you earn, but the choice to show up every day for people who need you, to stand in front of them when they're scared, to carry them when they're weak, to never, ever give up on what they might become. History forgets the noise. It remembers the silence that followed. End